Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Halloween special episode of Beth the Chef. Now, don't worry, we'll do some Halloween specials leading up to the big day. So, I better get my thinking cap on, or let's say thinking bandana, to come up with some good stuff. So, this week we are gonna do something I've always wanted to try and make. Never made it before. Something we're familiar with. Pumpkin pie. But this isn't going to be your ordinary pumpkin pie. The base is going to be chocolate shortcrust pastry, or as the Italians call it. Yes, I've got it written down. Pasta folla al calco, which, yes, we'll put up so you can see the spelling and the possible mispronunciation of that. But yeah, just adds a little bit more of a dimension to the pie, and chocolate pastry is so versatile. It works very well with summer berries. So, little tip for you there. But yeah, the filling as well. We're gonna spice it with pumpkin spice, as you would. Nice and comforting, cute little decorations from the panna cotta episode of our lovely honey tweels. Just push it up a bit, and yeah, they simply look good. So we need a fair bit of time for the pastry and the resting in the fridge. So without further ado, let's cook. So as you can see, I've gathered all the ingredients up to begin with the chocolate pastry, because that needs a good time in the fridge to chill and rest. And this is enough to line 2 tarts using these small cake tins, simply because we know what my husband's like. He's fussy and he doesn't eat pumpkin pie, so I'm just making a nice pear one using the same spices but just pears instead of pumpkin for him. So we need a sieve at the ready as well. But for the ingredients, 375 grams of plain flour. I've got 45 grams of cocoa powder, 120 grams of caster sugar, baking powder, which later on in the video I'm going to add half a teaspoon. You need 2 eggs and 180 grams of butter. This is just unsalted butter. And the key to this really is to sieve all your dry ingredients as you go along, because you want that pastry to be good, not too crumbly, but hold its shape, be nice and smooth, no lumps. I'm just going to start by sieving the flour. There we go. Nice mix. And I'm now going to sieve the sugar and add the baking powder, and then we'll incorporate the wet ingredients. Now I'm just adding the eggs. There we are. So when it's all incorporated, it should look a bit like a chocolate biscuit dough, almost like if you were to make bourbon biscuits. So what we're going to do, like with any pastry, any short crust, is wrap it in cling film and pop it in the fridge about, well, at least 45 minutes, but 45 minutes to an hour. So pumpkin pie, it's almost like a baked custard type filling, nice and smooth, the spices in there, and as we know, it's quite popular dish, let's say, in America and Canada. Pumpkin pie has actually been around since the Tudor times, really, but it didn't sort of become popular, let's say a household staple, until the early 19th century, where it was more of a Thanksgiving dish. So yeah, it's very popular now, and it was started to bring its name forward in Canadian cookbooks. So little fun facts for you there. Right, so I'm just prepping the ingredients and gathering everything up for the pie filling. And I'm going to show you how to do the pear alternative as well, if you were intrigued in that. So pans of waters are onto the boil. For the pumpkin one, I'm going to add 500 grams of diced pumpkin. It's just here. And there's just a cinnamon stick and 2 cloves in there. The pear one, I've got 500 grams of diced conference pears. I've not put as much water in because simply pears have more water content. They're not as starchy as a pumpkin. And there's just 1 clove and 1 star of anise in here because star of anise combines better with pears as well. Right, so all my ingredients are gathered now. And yeah, this is for both amounts for both of the pies. So if you're making one, just simply half it, which is what I've separated the eggs. So yeah, 3 eggs in total, 1.5 for one pie, and they're medium sized. I've got 30 grams of butter, so 15 grams for one. See, good bit of vanilla. $210 grams of light soft brown sugar, or half for one. And we're going with brown sugar instead of caster sugar for more of a caramelly, autumnal, comforting flavour. 220 mils of milk, or 110. And to finish off the pumpkin spice, in here is a heaped teaspoon of dried ginger powder. You've got 1 microplaned tonka bean and half a nutmeg, fresh nutmeg, just microplaned in there as well. The next stage is just to strain the pumpkin into a bowl, and I'm just going to blitz and pass it through. Leave it to cool down. While it's cooling down, we can line our pastry into our cases, let's say, and leave that in the fridge for a little bit while we get on with the pumpkin filling, and get our beads out ready to blind bake, and we'll be ready to get cooking. Right, so while it's cooling down, the purees, I'm just going to spray with my seal spray and dust with flour the cases, just so the pastry doesn't stick. And if you've not got this spray, which you can get from Amazon, but if not, just use some butter and flour. Like with the baking beads, if you've not got any baking beads, get a good amount of dried rice and wrap in cling film, wrap nice and tightly. It's just something to weigh your pastry down when blind baking. Otherwise it will puff up and you can get as much of your gorgeous filling in there. So for the pastry, you want a nice well-floured surface. just simply roll out a bit bigger than the circumference of the top case. So then it can go up round the edges good. Again, roughly the size of a pound coin. And once you get it roughly in there, into a ball. And what this can do is just go around and you can tuck it into the edges. Right, so just going to disperse the ingredients between the two. And I've just melted that butter. Smells awesome already. And finally the butter. For the pastry, I'm just going to add some pricks with the fork into the bases. And I've got my baking beads here. You need some cling film, bigger than the face of your case. Line it there. I'm going to put half of the beads in each. And just fold the excess cling film around so you've got a nice little bag and you can pick it up. So blind bake for about 1/4 hour. Lift the beads out and continue in the oven again for another 1/4 hour. So you can see my cases are now blind baked. And you want to pump the oven up to 200 degrees. Basically the filling's going to go in at 200 degrees for 10 minutes, and then we're going to lower it back down to 180 for about 35 minutes. So I've just gathered up the ingredients towards the honeyed wheels, and it's the same way as before, same as in the panna cotta episode, but this time I've got 50 grams of everything. So 50 grams of unsalted butter and honey, which will melt in the microwave in a moment. 50 grams of egg white and 50 grams of plain flour. I'm also just going to preheat the oven to 160 degrees. Melted butter and honey. To that I've mixed in the flour. And just mix in the egg white to loosen the mix up a bit. And we're good to go. So you won't need much. A little bit goes a long way with this. And keep an eye on them in the oven. Sometimes it varies how long they take. Yeah. Sometimes it can be in several minutes. Sometimes it takes up to 5 or 6 minutes. So I think it all depends on the temperature of the room as well, of course. And once they're done, just keep going, keep filling up the moulds. But actually put them straight onto the countertop so they cool down quicker that way. Got all my twirls ready and the pies are here. And feel free to level out the case and the offcuts with a microplane, which you will see more in the frangipane episode I got, if you want to get more of an idea of exactly what I mean with that. And just finished off with some icing sugar. So here we have it, our pumpkin spiced pumpkin pie with chocolate shortcrust pastry case, honey twirls, and a sprinkling of icing sugar. You spread the word back to the chef, and next week we're going to continue with a bit of pastry, sticking roughly with the Halloween theme, and we're going to make the devil's food cake from Hal. Bon appetit!